Welcome to the KIMIYA Healing Podcast. Today I'm talking about the transition from old to new, and it can apply to anything that you're experiencing in your life. And it also is reflected in the world and the structures that we have around us right now, and the transition that we are going through collectively as humanity. So the first thing I want to say is we often yearn for the new. We often desire new ways, new systems, new ways of living and being. And it ends up feeling like a dream, something that we long for. Now, what we don't often realise is in the calling in of something new, in the desiring and the accepting of something dramatically different for ourselves, we inherently have to let go of the old. So this transition, whether it's a personal transition or a collective transition, can feel like a stripping away. It can feel like a destructive process. And this is often what's challenging to deal with. This is where we can become stuck or clingy or fearful and mistrusting. And sometimes we can even forget what we've called in and the change that we've asked for. And it's reminding me of several years ago when I used to hear a lot of people say, well, the world needs to change, things need to change. Look at the climate crisis, look at the economic system, look at the wealth inequality. Things need to change. And in some ways, the trajectory of change, I think a lot of people had in mind, would be a positive one. It would be a supportive, perhaps gradual transition into better ways, into more equitable ways of living together. And what we're seeing in the world around us is a big shake-up and a big transition between old paradigms and new ways of being. And in the process, there is a huge destructive process happening right now. It's happening at the material level, and it's also happening at an energetic level. So you might have been feeling some of this in your own world, in your own hearts, maybe even in your own bodies, this needing and knowing for the new, but not really being able to hold what is crumbling right now within you, what is being destroyed around you. And what happens is the mind will easily go to the destruction and it will mourn. It will easily become fatalistic or make you perceive that there isn't growth, that there isn't change happening, or that the change that's happening is actually for the worse. And most of the truth is that we don't really know the ways in which we're going to process change. There ultimately isn't a good or a bad. There is a catalyst for self-awareness and self-awakening. And that catalyst can either be ours to embrace, or it can be something that we resist. And one thing that I found useful to do is to start to recognize how many times did I ask for change? How many times did I imagine that things could be a better way for the world? How many times did I perceive that new ways could come around, new systems could be established, that there could be fairer opportunities for people? Although we're not necessarily on the receiving end of that right now, we are on the receiving end of huge collapse of existing paradigms. And we hold the keys to these paradigms. We have created them and we believed in them long enough for them to be created. And clearly now, at an unconscious level, at an energetic level, we are rising up against the same things that we've created. And we're saying almost together, actually, it's time for change. We deserve better. We need better from ourselves. And we need better from the world around us. We want to create a world that is more aligned, more harmonious. And to some degree, during the lockdowns, I think we could feel that we were moving into spaces within that were more harmonious. We could feel the air felt less polluted, at least, and nature was still and thriving almost, because there was so much of a halt to the general mechanical ways of living. And we were brought inside. We were told to, stay at home, stay within. And a lot of that time meant additional connection with family, additional connection with maybe aspects of ourselves that we hadn't ordinarily made time for. So it's a bit more than saying every cloud has a silver lining, because I feel like that's a little bit cliche. This is more about saying, if you really are desiring change and you really are calling in something different for yourself, something more aligned with your soul, then you have to allow yourself to loosen your grip on what you've got right now, who you believe you are right now, and the things that you feel right now, not just about yourself, but also about the world around you. And this is not easy to do. So there will be a clinging, there will be a catastrophizing, there will be a perception that we are losing it all and everything's being taken away, etc., etc. And the more people stay in that frequency of fear and loss, the harder it is to make that transition into the higher frequency and the emergent world and the more blissful existence, because you feel like something's being taken away. This is bringing up a lot of emotions in people. The main emotions that I'm noticing are emotions of anger, injustice, of grief, of loss, and of sadness. Again, these are normal and natural human emotions. And to some degree, getting close to them, whether it's because it's been triggered by the world events or because it's been triggered by something that's happening in your life, you're not alone when you feel these things. Actually, sometimes when you do feel even these difficult emotions, you're closer to humanity, you're closer to the heart of humanity than ever before, especially when you're numb and trying not to feel and blanking things out. You're much further away from the heart of who you are and what you've been brought here to do for yourself, for your soul, and for your evolution. And I really believe a key part of that is being able to feel, and being able to feel, make meaning from what you feel, and create a new way of being, a new identity for yourself through your feeling senses. So for those of you who are joining in September for the womb room, it's quite a big womb room this year, not just in terms of how many of you are joining, but also because of the place that we're in at a collective level, calling in a rebirth, calling in a higher way of being, a more soul-aligned way of being. This is really going to be the focus of this womb room, because transitioning is not always easy when you have to do it on your own. Transitioning is not always easy when you are feeling like you're just stuck in a loop of the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same situations. But when we're all together in this really powerful and beautiful space, it's going to be a way to support your transition individually and collectively into this world that we've created and called in, that's just an arm's reach away. And this world is a frequency landscape. Your outside material world may look the same, but when you transition and you rebirth, you leave behind the old loops, the old stories, the memories that haven't served you, and you bring peace to that, you settle them, you start to embrace this mysterious edge within you, this spark within you, and you start to move into that light. This is the work of rebirth, and it's going to be the focus of our journey this September. So for those of you who have already joined from all around the world, I'm so excited to meet you all, and also really excited for you all to meet each other. I really sense this is going to be a powerful womb, a womb that really mirrors through you and back at you, because there are so many similarities in the journeys that you guys have been on and the potential that you hold. So many of you are going to be leaders of the world and leaders of the new world in your own ways, in your own craft. And I'm excited to have you all together and to be supporting you through this rebirth. If you are considering joining, please let me know and sign up as soon as you can, because we are almost fully booked for the September Womb Room. So transitions, they are not always easy. They usually do support you in higher ways, in ways that you couldn't even imagine based on where you are right now. So if you feel like you're in a transition, let yourself recognize that you're walking this bridge right now, and the bridge is guiding and leading you into a space that is inherently going to nourish you deeper. It's never going to take you backwards. It's never going to take anything away from you that you really, really need that was serving you. That's not how the process of evolution, especially spiritual evolution, that's not how it works. It's very, yes, destructive in a way and does require a lot of surrender, but it will always leave you more elevated. And the key is to recognize that there is a process going on, that you are inherently part of the process and unconsciously guiding your own process, and that you are safe and that you will be delivered into the frequency that your soul is really calling in for you. So my advice is to keep going. If you're really stuck, you're really feeling challenged right now in a transition, reach out to me, let me know what's happening. You can contact me via my website or just drop me an email, safa@kimiyahealing.co.uk.